Hey everybody, this is Lara from Light Body Healing and Consulting, and today I want to talk to you about 5 ways of how to stop wasting your energy, to stop leaking your energy, and to stop giving away your power. And energy and power are like currency. It's a constant exchange. So what you put out is what you get back. And similarly, when others are around you, what they're putting out, we are reacting to and we're responding to, even if we're not aware of it. So the biggest thing in this whole conversation is going to be awareness, and to be aware of what we are putting out into the world, how we are responding, and does that need to be changed, and if so, how do we do that? So I believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And with that being said, every single choice that we make is a power negotiation. And every single action we take is in response to some sort of power influence. So creation is power, creativity and energy is power, how we spend our energy, what we invest our energy in. All of that is related to power. So a lot of times when we're feeling powerless, we make powerless choices. And this is just another way of reiterating the law of attraction. What we put out is what we get back. And so when we're feeling empowered, that usually leads us to make empowered choices and to perpetuate that empowered and powerful energy and feeling and lifestyle. So just keep that in mind whenever you're feeling down and out and maybe, like a victim or just totally run over. Realize that you have a choice and you have power and you don't have to be a victim. And so that is your first sort of intuitive hit to change your energy, to change your vibration, because you do have a choice and the power to do that. So in order to do that, you have to connect with your inner sense of power. How do you perceive yourself? Because how you perceive yourself a lot of times is how the world will also perceive you. So if you want people to change how they treat you, then you have to change how you present yourself to the world. Do you feel safe? Do you feel alone? Do you feel abused? Do you feel entitled? Do you feel like you're a victim? Do you feel respected and loved? All of these things are going to contribute and directly influence how you're treated and then how you react, right? So true power and empowerment is found when we take control of our perceptions, and then we have the choice not to allow the illusions that we create in our life to command our spirit. You have to decide what is true, what is false, what is real, what is not real, what is empowering, what is disempowering. You have to decide for yourself what that is and what you're going to allow it to be. What makes you feel liberated? What makes you feel free? Those things, usually when we feel free and liberated, we also feel powerful. So think about those things and how to bring more of those things into your life and how to participate more in those things. Learning how to manage our power is essential to facilitating our healing. And notice I said healing and not cure. A cure is more of a passive action. You have an infection, you go to the doctor gives you an antibiotic, you take it until it's done, as a good pharmacist would tell you, all the way through, and then you are cured. The infection has gone away. And so all of those things that you did were outside of yourself. You gave your power to the doctor to make the decision which antibiotic you should take, and you followed the instructions of the doctor and the pharmacist, and now you're better. But for a healing, that is an internal condition and internal decisions and an internal participation. And so you have to investigate your attitudes, your memories, your beliefs, your reactions, and your relationship to power and energy. So when we decide for ourselves that we want to be healed, that we want to start looking for a healing, looking how to heal ourselves, take control of our health and be empowered, then we have to acknowledge where we are, accept where we are without judgment, surrender it. I surrender up to divine guidance, and then we release it. And once we release it, we create more space for the healing and the love and the light to come in. So, to truly recover and heal, those are the 4 things I believe we need to do. And I'll say it again, without judgment. Judgment is probably one of the most destructive things that we can do to ourselves and those around us. And it's really a practice. Judgment can be an addiction. It can be something unconscious that we don't even realize that we're doing because we're so in the habit of just judge. So we need to be aware and stop ourselves when we find ourselves doing it, and really honor those lessons and honor those most challenging relationships that are in our lives, because those are our greatest teachers. When we are the most challenged, though, that's when we learn our lessons and we grow as spiritual beings. So we attract every person and every situation into our lives, and I know that can be really hard to digest, especially when we've had some really shitty and bad situations and circumstances in our life. But once we are in the muck, then that's when our strengths and our weaknesses are brought to light, and we are able to grow and expand, and that's when the magic happens. So here I'll go into the steps, and this is the work of Carolyn Mace. I find her work really inspiring, and it has helped me a lot in my life to really start doing that inner work and digging down deep and figuring out, how I'm contributing to what's going on in my life and how I can change it. So the first step is stepping back and observing our behavioral patterns. Like I said before, be the objective detective. Don't be judgmental. Be nice to yourself. Talk to yourself like your best friend would. But, pay attention to your body language, your words that come out of your mouth, the actions that you take, the attitudes that you contribute to a situation. And then once you've sort of aligned yourself and, awakened yourself to those things, then ask yourself, why do I behave this way? Why do I act this way? What do I think I'm going to get out of it by acting this way? And maybe you want to, have a little journal and write some of these down, so then once you've gone through the exercise, you can reflect back on it. And then when it comes up again, because it will, because everything in our life comes in cycles, and, once you've overcome one thing, that doesn't mean that you're done forever. There's going to be more stuff to come. So I like to, I keep a journal and I write down tools like this to help me. So when I find myself in that situation again, I can say, okay, here's my chance to really reflect and dig in and see, how am I contributing? What are my actions? What are my words? What are my attitudes? How can I change them so that this next situation will turn out differently? So that this next interaction will be different than the last, and so that maybe I can grow past this situation and experience something new. So you've done those 2 things. Now you are going to identify the emotional patterns, and this is something big. Our emotions hold a lot of energy, and it's really connected with our minds. Dave Asprey calls it the Labrador mind, but that ego mind. Eckhart Tolle talks about, your soul and your spirit versus that narrator in your head. So this is where you look at what's the dialogue, and then how am I investing in that emotionally? What emotions am I giving to it? What feelings am I giving to it? Because we invest a lot of energy in our feelings. So by giving your power away is when you are allowing yourself to invest your energy in maybe something that's not for your highest good and not for your most productive self. So really take, a non-objective look at that emotional investment and those emotional patterns, and maybe even look at where you feel them activated in your body. I truly believe that disease starts at the emotional, energetic level first. So if you can really tune in when you're doing this exercise and think about, and maybe close your eyes and think about whatever it is that's, you're working through at the moment. And then where do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in your gut? Do you feel it in your heart? Maybe your throat starts to tighten up or, get cloggy. Maybe you start to have a headache. Whatever it is, that gives you a clue as to where you're holding that energy, and it gives you a chance to stop it before it manifests and grows and possibly manifests into an illness or a disease. We've done that. We've examined our emotional patterns, and now we need to identify the people who bring out these behavioral patterns in us. And I will say probably our family is probably our biggest triggers, and they're our biggest teachers, because they're the ones that we chose before we incarnated on this planet to be in our lives forever for most of us. And that means that these situations are going to come up, and they're going to come up, and they're going to come up. And so each time, that gives you a chance to do this exercise, to stop and reflect and acknowledge and accept and surrender and release. And so now that we have all the information, now we get to do the actual rescripting part. So we have the patterns, we have the people, we have our behavior and our investment in it, as well as the other person's, without judgment. And now we get to rescript it, as Carolyn calls it, rescripting for future encounters. So it's really great to do all this work for awareness, but if you don't do any action after the awareness, then really what benefit is it doing for you? So I really encourage you to go through these steps, make this sort of, especially if you find that a certain pattern is continuously coming up in your life, and it can be really frustrating. Like sometimes you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, like, why does this keep happening to me? So for me, when that happens, I'm like, all right, well, what am I doing to contribute to it energetically, physically, and then how can I change it? So I hope this was helpful to you today. I hope this helps you along your path in healing. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. I'm really anxious and excited to hear what you have to say and your feedback. And if you want to know more about me, check out my website. It's drlaramay.com, drlaramay.com. I have a blog, which is /blog. And then if you want to maybe have a free coaching session with me, you're wanting some coaching guidance in your life, sign up for a free 60-minute session with me, and we can figure out what your goals are and if we would be productive working together, and how I can help you along your healing path. I'm also a Reiki master, so if you don't want coaching but just want some Reiki, I do distance healings sessions, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. So for that, again, it's drlaramay.com/join. And you can find me on Facebook at Light Body Healing and Consulting. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Dr. Lara May, DrLaramay. I hope you have a fabulous day. Bye.